Hello and welcome to the Art in the Loop kickoff. It is that time of year, and new Art in the Loop series is installed along the streetcar line throughout downtown Kansas City, and we are going to celebrate. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Katie Schamberger. I am so proud to be your MC and host for this virtual kickoff. We have got a big evening ready for you. We're going to hear from integral members of the Art in the Loop team. Also going to hear from the artists themselves, see the work, and then make sure you have plenty of information about how you can experience all of this incredible public art in person. Let's get it going with Ann Holliday, Director of Art in the Loop and also the Vice President of the Downtown Council, joined by Donna Mandelbaum, Communications Director for the Kansas City Streetcar Authority. We are so thrilled to bring you the Art in the Loop kickoff events, and we got to kick off the kickoff, right? So with us, we have Ann Holliday, who is Director of Art in the Loop and Vice President of the Downtown Council, joined also by Donna Mandelbaum. You may know her as Streetcar Donna. That's what I call her. She is the Communications Director for the Kansas City Streetcar Authority. Ladies, welcome to the kickoff.
Thank you.
So good to be here, Katie.
So excited to have you both. And talk to us. I assume that we have people here who are very familiar with Art in the Loop, but I'm hoping we have some new faces tuning in. So can you give us the background? I know this is a really important annual event and effort. Tell us, some of the details behind the scenes.
Sure. Thanks, Katie.
Yeah.
So Art in the Loop is a private nonprofit organization working to engage artists in creating artwork that contributes to the vibrancy of downtown Kansas City, operating under the support of the Downtown Council. Our main program is the Art in the Loop Project, which is a curated outdoor exhibition of temporary artworks that takes place each summer in downtown Kansas City along the KC streetcar line. Our goal is to infuse the center of downtown Kansas City with innovative and engaging temporary art that will refresh, intrigue, and entertain our audience of downtown workers, residents, and visitors. Equally important, though, the project creates an opportunity for our local emerging and established artists to increase their audiences and extend their practice into public art in downtown Kansas City.
I love that. That's a wonderful point. We had talked about that before, but you were giving me some great examples, like to your point, an emerging artist can kind of get their name out, get more people familiar with their work. Or I love your perspective too. Maybe a more established artist might do some experimentation, but you see both throughout Art in the Loop each year, correct?
Correct. For instance, tonight you'll hear about Robert Castillo in the public art. This was his first example of doing public art with our project. Then you have an artist like Ada Koch, who's worked in all different fields, but she ended up wrapping a streetcar and collaborating with Glenn North, a local poet.
Well, and we are going to meet the artists here in just a little bit. I'm so excited. We've got videos so people can actually meet the artists, can see more about the work. But Ann, any thoughts just kind of overall about this year's lineup? I know this year has thrown us all a lot of curveballs.
Yes, it has. But we were so thrilled to be able to commission, AKA pay,
right, important,
these artists with real money, yes, cash. So we have 10 art projects. 7 are artworks that are installed on KC streetcar shelters. One is a sculpture located in the city market. And then we also have a series of digital animations that play on the K-City Post kiosks that are throughout the line. And then finally, we have the streetcar wrapped in art that kind of functions as a movable sculpture running through downtown that also includes newly commissioned poetry. So we have a really diverse collection of things to look and see. And what we're hoping folks will do, we have a map that's on our website. So folks can go on a self-guided tour of the artwork by walking or using Casey's Streetcar. And at every location, we have a title sign that includes information about the piece.
Here's a wonderful opportunity that, just on your own or a small group, just go outside, enjoy the art, get a little change of scenery. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and there's really, as you'll see from the artists, a lot of different types of artwork, inspiring different feelings, and we think it's really positive thing for downtown right now and for our city.
Yeah, and I know I think we're going to meet most or if not all of the team tonight, but I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes making this happen, sponsors and valued partners. Any shout outs to those folks?
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you so much. I mean, our kind of core team, which makes things happen on a daily basis, Donna from Streetcar and Bo Hubbard, our art director. But we've also got a board of directors for Art in the Loop that's helping oversee and manage activities. We have a number of philanthropic and corporate sponsors, and I would love to do a shout out for Casey's Streetcar, Missouri Arts Council, Richard J. Stern Foundation for the Arts, Signco, Stinson, Arts Casey, and Henderson Engineers, as well as city staff and all sorts of other folks that help make this happen. I would point out, while we're talking about partners, supporters, and funders, that we're still raising money to fully fund this year's project.
Okay.
So if anyone watching this today, if you want to make a donation, you can go right to artintheloop.com/support. If you want to talk about a partnership or other type of support, you can email me at ann@downtowncasey.org.
Streetcar Donna is here with us because the streetcar, as Ann mentioned, is an integral part of Art in the Loop. Donna, would love for you to tell us a little more about the streetcar's involvement and also, why this is such an important event for all of you at the Casey Streetcar Authority.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie, and hey to all the artists and my friend Ann. I've had the privilege of working with Ann and the Art in the Loop Foundation for 5 years now.
Awesome.
So the streetcar's been involved for that long, and it's probably one of my most favorite parts of my job. The Loop has been around for 7 years, and when we started the streetcar, we launched it in May of 2016, and right away we're like, how do we bring art to this line? And Art in the Loop had this amazing system already in place, how to reach out to artists and how they can apply. So it was just a great fit.
But Donna, would just love your thoughts on seeing that variety of art this year and really showing people the versatility of the streetcar, as you were saying, as this just wonderful vehicle, if you'll forgive the pun, for art and for immersing people in the art.
Yes, Katie, I see the track of thought.
I see what you did there. Yes.
So I don't know if anybody has noticed, and Ann was a part of the aesthetics committee for building the streetcar line years and years ago.
Okay.
As part of her role with the downtown council. But our streetcar shelter stops are actually built to look like picture frames. So you have I
don't think I realized that.
So it's a frame piece. We offer a lot of transparency with our glass, and then there's a blue frame around it. And so it just screams out, let's put art here. And when we started the program, we did not have an art car at first, but this is our 3rd year having an art car. And I feel like it's something people always look forward to every year.
Me, yes.
We loved Merv, the monarch caterpillar.
I loved the caterpillar.
Yes. And so every year people are like, what is it going to be this year? This year is just amazing. And I love the collaboration that the artist did with Glenn North. And I think everybody's going to really appreciate that experience. You can actually see the artwork soon when you step into the streetcar as well. So it's on the inside and outside. And then we have postcards inside the streetcar where people can pick up these postcards that have the original poetry on it and send a little note to somebody. Maybe you haven't seen them because we've been in a pandemic or we're not really traveling as much. So you miss a friend, a loved one, send them a little postcard. So you're thinking of them. So because of that collaboration, we're able to reach out in a new way to people.
But Streetcar is open for ridership, so definitely make the Streetcar a part of your own self-guided tour if you're so inclined.
Yes, we highly encourage you to take the streetcar or walk to go on the tour. The streetcar has always been operating throughout this pandemic. We just have reduced hours. Ask that you wear a mask.
Yes.
Ride in the streetcar. Show us your cool mask. But yes, you can ride the streetcar and take in all the art. And we are practicing a lot of great hygiene techniques. Now our streetcars are cleaned twice a day. We have hand sanitizer on board. We've eliminated as much touch points as possible so that you could be as safe as possible on the streetcar.
So glad you guys did bring back the art car this year. I kind of like, to me, it almost feels like a scavenger hunt, you know, when I'm walking downtown and then I see it and I'm like, oh, there it is. And I, you know, take my picture. And I remember the first art car was gorgeous with the kind of mosaic feel or kind of a mixed media, right? The party, am I remembering right? Party car?
It was the Party Car by Amy Kligman.
Yes.
And she used party supplies. Like confetti and things like that in a collage to create that piece.
I just felt like the party car was like my kindred spirit. I did write it quite frequently. Well, ladies, I appreciate your time tonight. I think this is such a way to get us started here, and now we'll chat with Bo Hubbard, Art in the Loop, artistic director, and gonna meet the artists. So excited. Reiterate again that people can get out and see the art themselves. There may be some additional programming coming down the line. Anne, is that correct? I think Bo's gonna tell us a little bit about that, but there may be some things in the works.
Well, we're hoping that we can do an in-person walking tour or two in the fall, for sure. And, you know, in past years, we've had music on the streetcar and performance art. A lot of that we weren't able to fund and wasn't really appropriate in the pandemic.
Sure.
But, you know, we don't know what the future holds.
Right.
So maybe we'll be able to add a little something towards the end.
Well, thank you both so much for your time tonight. So excited to get Art in the Loop officially kicked off. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Katie.
Ladies, thank you so much for that. I am so excited now to introduce you to the first group of Art in the Loop artists. We're going to start on the north end of the streetcar route and we're just going to work our way south. Remember that you can go to the Art in the Loop website, artintheloop.com, get your own map, print it out, save it to your phone, whatever. This is going to be your guide to all of the Art in the Loop installations. Give you the artist's name, also the title of the artwork itself, information that's also available at all of the streetcar stops. So this will kind of get you going, get you ready to plan your own adventure through this incredible public art.
Hi, I'm Megan Ganey, and I created So Long and Good Luck at the River Market West stop. I made this piece specifically for the Art in the Loop submission, but it's also part of a larger series called El Paso. In that series, I work for medium format negatives that belong to my great-grandma Flora. Like El Paso and the history it holds as the past, this work is a passage of practice between generations, where I create an alternative reality that tethers me to Flora. I was raised in El Paso, so I saw this public art project as an opportunity to connect my hometown to the town that I call home. Like Kansas City, El Paso's history and culture is tied to the railroad, where people and commerce were connected across borders through opportunity and optimism. In So Long and Good Luck, cousins and neighbors smile and squint into the bright sun. They're bathed in warmth and color, paused in a moment marked significant. My intent for this piece was for the public to share in this sense of community, this feeling of an afternoon out with friends, the joys of togetherness. But now, after months of isolation, this piece reads differently to me. Knowing that my family is represented in my community and that I have this connection to home, a home that feels farther away than it ever has, that brings me comfort. In dark times, we need bright colors and familiar faces. We need to be reminded that, however distant, we are under the same sun.
Hi everybody, my name is Will Vanderson and I'm a sculptor here in Kansas City. I created Shiny Piece of Giant Ginger, also known as Spog, which has been newly installed down at City Market at the new north entrance at 3rd Street and Walnut. I chose ginger for a couple reasons. One is that it's already an object or a category of objects that I study for just learning composition, seeing how things go together and how I might want to fold that into my own sculptural language. The other reason I chose ginger is that I get so many comments all the time about my pieces out in the world saying that it reminds folks of ginger. So I get the impression that ginger also has like kind of a cultural meaning for people already, at least to some extent. And so I said, perfect, meaning, and I apparently already know how to make it, so we'll just do that. And about the 4th redesign in, turns out I don't know how to design ginger out of a whole cloth. But because I already study it, why don't you just find a piece that works for you sculpturally and literally translate that to a 7-foot tall ginger sculpture. So that's what I did. It was a challenge. Went from the actual rhizome to a model in Oculus Medium using virtual reality. Translated that to Rhino 3D to generate the metal patterns for the sheet metal, and then spent several weeks fabricating all of that. And that's how we get a shiny piece of giant ginger down at the City Market.
My name is Hubbard Savage. I have a streetcar shelter stop at 9th and Main, southbound library stop. It's called My Dungeon Shook, a portrait of James Baldwin. And in it is a painting of a portrait of James Baldwin that I did in 2019. I see my art in the context of like a calling out to other artists. In some sense, you could say I'm just recommending other artists, musicians, writers that I respect. Or if you took it a little deeper, you could say that I'm calling out to something external. I think that the way I understand art is that it's a reaching out to find meaning. It's a reaching out more than it is looking into yourself to find your needs, to have your needs met. I think that people are created to have an external need that's met by others. For that reason, I think that listening is a skill that each of us need to develop. This project and design was put together before George Floyd's murder. I think that we're in a cultural moment that's important where we should stop and look at the real problems that we have with policing and with injustices in the criminal justice system and sentencing and in the structure of our prison system. And these are matters that are big and that I think we should all look at and continue to talk about. And I'm hopeful that these conversations continue to happen. I'm thankful for the ways that James Baldwin's writings from over 60 years ago have impacted me. Unfortunately, they feel like they could have been written yesterday.
Hi, my name is William Plummer, and I'll be speaking on behalf of the Body of Inquiry collaboration, which consists of 4 members, including Mal Meir, Jason Paulin, Steph Notarski, and myself. I created the composition Planaria Passages, which can be seen at the Metro Center northbound stop. When we as a collaboration decided to apply for Art in the Loop, it seemed a really natural extension of what we were already doing at the time, which was making artwork using flatworms and inspired by flatworms. And we were doing this to build public awareness and appreciation for them. This is a worm that can be found in Swope Park, practically in our own backyards, and are currently being studied at the Stowers Institute of Medical Research for their incredible regenerative properties. So they're pretty amazing, and we wanted to show them off even more to the public. So in doing this, we also wanted to recreate this aha experience we've had as both artists and scientists, which is where you realize that something upon closer inspection is quite different from what you initially thought it to be. So I did this by creating this composition that looks like swirling stained glass from a distance, but upon closer inspection, any passerby might come to realize that it's actually hundreds of rainbow little flatworms. And we really wanted to create this moment of delight for people. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Robert Castillo, bassist, composer, band leader, and visual artist. And my piece for 2020 Art in the Loop is titled Hold, and it's at the northbound streetcar stop at 14th and Main in the Power and Light District. Hold is my first piece of public art, and I'm so excited to be able to share a message of unity and togetherness with the great people of Kansas City. I created this piece before COVID-19 hit, and before the focus on racial equality and justice, and the increased awareness on the necessity of reform for our policing systems. The initial intention of this piece was to promote a sense of unity across all types of humans, but the universe works in mysterious ways, and it just so happened that this piece was installed the same week that there were gatherings and protests in our city nearly every day across the country and really across the world to bring a broader light on the racial injustices that exist in our country. Because of all of this piece took on an even greater role in that it is a way to show support for our Black brothers and sisters during this time, to show them that there are so many of us that support and understand and are empathizing as much as we possibly can, and are working to empathize even more greatly with the life experiences and the history of African Americans in this country. Now, I am aware that this piece might upset some people, and my hope is that those folks who may become upset by this may have the humility and the personal emotional awareness to question why an image of humans holding hands creates distress within themselves, and that person might be able to then reflect and incite personal change. I really do believe that ideological change occurs incrementally, where each individual is the unit of measurement towards a society that values compassion, unity, and respect for every one of its members. Thank you to Kansas City Streetcar and Art in the Loop for the opportunity to promote unity and diversity in our city.
Well, a big thanks to all of our artists who worked so hard to not only create their Art in the Loop work, but also to create these videos that we're using for the kickoff. It's really absolutely a team effort. Now I'm so excited. We are going to have a quick chat with Bo Hubbard, who is the artistic director of Art in the Loop. He's got some great additional insight into the program itself, how things are a little different this year, and more of what you can expect. It is a pleasure to have all of you with us tonight, kicking off this summer's Art in the Loop series. So glad to hear from Bo Hubbard, artistic director of Art in the Loop. He's got a lot of good information to share. Bo, how are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, tell us about the process, because I know we're going to hear from the artists themselves here momentarily. Tell us about how they're selected, how that panel works.
Yeah, so the applications open at the beginning of each year with the expectation that artworks are installed at the beginning of the summer. Our artist selection panel usually consists of about 6 or 7 people. Usually a few people that have participated in Art in the Loop in the past, as well as other curators, downtown community members. So we try to have a wide range of people, people that will represent downtown businesses, the artist perspective, and also our partner organizations like the Streetcar.
But this is exciting. So this is the first year that there was not an established theme for the artwork. Is that correct? Can you tell us a little bit about, why that decision was made, and did that change anything about the response that you all got from artists?
Yeah, so this is my second year as art director for Art in the Loop.
Okay.
And so as I was going into my second year, I wanted to make a few minor adjustments to see if we could open it up to a wider variety of artists and make it more accessible for artists in their practice. So that's ultimately why we took away the theme this year. Instead of asking artists to create artwork that fit under a specific category, they could create something that's a little bit more in line with their normal studio practice. So kind of a reformatting. And we changed a few things this year. Last year, we were excited to officially release the Streetcar wrap. So we're continuing that this year. So this will be our third year wrapping the Streetcar.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we also reformatted the Streetcar application. So this year, artists were able to submit an image that they could have printed for the Streetcar stop. So we see quite a few of those this year.
That's wonderful. And I wonder too, like, without having that established theme, I don't know, to me as an avid consumer of public art, I think it might be fun to go through all the stops, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment, and see maybe if I could even find my own theme, or just a way that maybe the art is still connected, maybe completely unintentionally, but I think it brings something to the experience for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that it starts to reflect what artists in Kansas City are thinking. When you get a group of 10 artists together bringing all their own perspectives, there is a commonality between those. And I think we really started to see that this year, instead of just us dictating a theme.
Oh, fantastic. How have you all been working through the response to the COVID pandemic? Anything that we all should know or keep in mind in that regard?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned about the Streetcar stops, we did get lucky this year where since we reformatted the application, we were able to put an emphasis on the Streetcar stops. So what I mean by that is the artwork that's printed on vinyl and put on the glass shelters of the Streetcar stops.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reason why this worked out in our favor is that we could have people drive by and see the artwork. Unfortunately, this year we have had to put a pause on our public programming, so our performances and our interactive events. We usually have just as many public performances and music series, but that has had to pause for this year. So our intentions were to really increase the visual artwork this year and allow people the chance to, since it is public, since people can be outside and drive through the downtown loop or ride the streetcar and still be able to participate in that artwork.
Wonderful. And that's a perfect transition, because I know that there also is additional programming that goes along with the Art in the Loop series that people might be familiar with, some guided art walks and some things like that. Bo, can you tell us what the plans are for that, and if you know any events in that realm coming up, maybe even later this summer, early fall?
Yeah, so we are looking at early fall, late summer to hopefully do another art walk. So last year we did 2 different art walks where we brought some of our artists together and invited the public to follow us through downtown and hear the artist's perspective a little bit more in depth, be able to ask questions to the artist. So we are still hoping to have some sort of art walk later in the summer. We also have a closing reception every year, so that is still hopefully in the works to be a in-person reception as well.
Wonderful. Well, kudos to all of you, Bo, to you especially, to the team at Art in the Loop. Again, lots of challenges this year, but how wonderful it is that we still have this incredible and important opportunity to take in this public art for artists to, like you said, present what's on their minds and in their hearts, and definitely looking forward to getting out and about. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Bo. Let's jump on our virtual imaginary streetcar line right now. We are going to meet the second group of Art in the Loop artists. Again, don't forget, you can go to the Art in the Loop website, artintheloop.com. Also connect with Art in the Loop on social media at Art in the Loop for additional information, programming updates, everything you need to know to really immerse yourself in this incredible body of work.
So the main reason that I did this installation was to study the effect of light on people's mood and well-being. I'm coming from Iran, and in my country, the public buildings such as schools or mosques or even residential houses are covered and decorated by stained glasses. I have such a fond memory of visiting all these historical sites when I was growing up. Seeing all sorts of colorful shadows casted on various surfaces, and even on my body as I was passing by the windows was such a transformative and contemplative experience for me that got me wanting to find out if I can replicate the experience in my new environment. So it took me a week to the whole installation. I would come every day, work approximately for 8 hours, and I have to say really the conversations that I had with the public and the direct response that I received from my viewers of all ages and all sorts was the most interesting and refreshing part of this work for me. After being stuck at home due to pandemic for such a long time and losing all sorts of exhibitions and shows, getting to work by the side of the street and interacting with people and seeing the direct impact of the work on their faces was really something fascinating for me as a visual artist that mostly don't get these first-hand feedbacks.
Hey, what's up, Casey? My name is Jessica Rogers. I'm here with Art in the Loop for my project 36 by 36 Quilt Series paintings. My piece is at the southbound stop in the crossroads at 19th and Main. These pieces they started as gouache paintings inspired by quilt paintings. There's 4 of them in the series. What you'll see behind me today is actually the 3-dimensional version of these paintings, to where I took the original gouache paintings, scanned them in, and had them digitally printed through spoon flour onto fabric. I then cut them up and repieced them back together with other pieces of scrap fabrics and to create new compositions and paintings out of fabric. So definitely stop by my stop at 19th and Main and check out the original paintings. And follow me at Cartwheel Jess on Instagram and follow along the entire project, Art in the Loop. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Erin Bonner. I am a local artist currently based in Kansas City, Missouri. I have a piece up at Union Station that is titled Out of Sight but on My Mind. The original description that I submitted for this piece alluded to like the importance of removing yourself from digital space in order to make in-person human connections within your community. And while this is still a very important aspect of this piece, during quarantine, I was able to spend a lot of time while editing these pieces, just sitting with them and thinking about how do they relate to me on a more personal level. So while I still believe that these human connections are very important, I also realized that these images are more representational to me of the importance of some digital relationships. Because for me specifically, being from South Mississippi, being a brown queer woman from South Mississippi, I didn't know a lot of other brown queer women. I didn't have a network like that. And I relied on the internet in order to find like-minded individuals. Social media is a huge tool for the queer community and for other communities, for people that are looking for like-minded individuals to validate their thoughts and their feelings. And this image represents, I think, both the importance of these relationships and the beauty within these relationships, but also, they're not concrete. Like, you want to reach out to this person sometimes. You want to be able to feel them and talk to them and hug them sometimes. So, yeah, again, out of sight, but on my mind.
Hi, I'm Barry Anderson. My project for this year's Art in the Loop is titled Waiting Rooms. It's a series of short animations shown on the Kansas City Streetcar kiosks throughout the day. When I originally conceived of these animations, it was January, before any of these major events in our world had happened. And at that point, I wanted them to be very abstract, imaginary spaces that offered the viewers an experience almost like a motion painting. However, in the wake of the pandemic and all of our shutdowns, I've skewed most of these spaces to be a bit more realistic, to give the viewers, a breath of fresh air, so to speak, both metaphorically and literally. And in the wake of the protests against police brutality and social injustice, I've added some objects and images in that are meant to be very positive and empowering. And in the case of one of them, I virtually created a stone monument that explicitly says Black Lives Matter. Now more than ever, it's important for us to all come together, say what's right, and do what's right.
When we first submitted the proposal for the Hope and Gratitude Project, it was about shedding some happiness in the community, using the poppy, which is an emblem from World War I that symbolizes hope, rebirth, renewal, and taking that and mixing it with gratitude to thank people, especially veterans, and to show off the wonderful World War I museum and memorial in our community. Then the whole world changed. Just in the time of when we submitted the proposal to when we were accepted, there was a pandemic. There have been marches about the very important diversity and inclusivity. So now this hope and gratitude, the poppy still can symbol hope, rebirth, maybe happiness, maybe some energy with the bright red colors, and thanking people, not just the veterans, but people in our community who've helped us all get through these tough times.
I've been working with Ada for about 5 years. We started off with the Love, Loss, and Violence project. So when Ada approached me about the opportunity to do this project with Art in the Loop and KC Streetcar, I was very excited. I wrote a poem called Standing Strong, an ode to KC. This idea of poppies being symbols for hope was very instrumental in helping me kind of find direction with the poem. Then I began to think about the history of Kansas City. I began to think about the spirit of Kansas City. And I wanted to try to capture all of that in a poem that would uplift people who read it and inspire hope and gratitude. And as an interactive component, the poem is available on a postcard that people can get when they enter or exit the Kansas City streetcar. Like poppies on a post-war battlefield, in the darkest hour, hope tends to bloom. With a sense of gratitude as our shield, we no longer fear the impending doom. Tornadoes swoop down and floodwaters rise. The sweltering sun scorches Midwest earth. The blistering snows that won't compromise simply help us to realize our worth. A quiet ride on a KC streetcar offers time to ponder what we've been through. This city we love is wounded and scarred, but we jazz forward and push through the blues. There's no vixen, no villain, no virus capable of stealing our victory. We are the descendants of chiefs and monarchs. There's no denying our royalty. And when all the terrors have come and gone, history will record us standing strong.
Okay, so it's steamy out here, but I've got chills. Are you so impressed by this incredible creative community that calls Kansas City home? What a thoughtful, talented, insightful, thought-provoking body of art we have available to us for free this year as part of Art in the Loop. This is really such an incredible opportunity, so please make your own plan to take a stroll down the streetcar line, jump on the streetcar, whatever you choose to do, just make sure that you experience this wonderful art. This really is such a privilege to have work of this magnitude so accessible to all of us. To all of the Art in the Loop artists, thank you so much. Ann Holliday, Donna Mandelbaum, Bo Hubbard, thank you for all that you do and for being a part of the kickoff tonight. Don't forget, download your Art in the Loop map at artintheloop.com, and as you're out and about, please tag Art in the Loop on social media so we can come along on your adventure with you. Thank you again for tuning in, and enjoy.